In 2023, I asked ZRL champion Peter Hutchings about his experience in sim racing.
My dad bought us a Sony Vaio desktop in early 2004, and shortly after, GTR2 came out, and he bought that for me with a Logitech Wingman Formula Force GP wheel. I had only just turned 11, so the simulator nature of GTR2 took me a while to figure out, and I played it on and off for a few years until I discovered the Gran Turismo series on the PlayStation and played Gran Turismo 4 pretty aggressively. A few years went by. I got Gran Turismo 5 on the PS3, and my Wingman Formula Force not working with the PlayStation 3 needed to be replaced. So I found a Logitech G25 on Craigslist, and really that's where the journey began. But I still like to attribute that GTR2 really got me into the kind of just nature of sim racing and endurance racing in general, and it really kind of helped shape the kind of racing I enjoy and what sim racing in general. I'm currently using a Fanatec CSL Elite version 1.1 wheelbase with a CSL McLaren GT3 V2 rim. I have Fanatec CSL Elite load cell pedals, a SHH Newt shifter, and just some generic eBay e-brake thing that I got a while back for drifting on a city course and such. I race exclusively in VR. I have an Oculus Rift S, and it's all on a Playseat Evolution that I had to do some DIY reinforcements to because the Evolution was never intended to be used with a load cell pedal.
He then explained his experience in motorsport.
I currently compete in American Rally Association events as a co-driver with my good friend John Barnett. We race a rally-prepped 1987 BMW E30 325i Coupe in the limited two-wheel drive class. Traditionally, we've only done a couple events a year just with the cost involved to do motorsports to that degree. But also, I have a 2001 Mazda Miata that is set up for autocross and HPDE. I've driven it on Barber Motorsports Park, Talladega GP, Atlanta Motorsports Park, and Road Atlanta. I've got plans to hit some other tracks in the southeast here in the next year. Really would like to do the Charlotte Roval and Polecat, which is a newer track that they just opened in southern Tennessee.
In ZRL, Hutchings won 16 races and was the champion of Season 3. I asked him, how much preparation do you do before a race?
Typically, I'll spend anywhere from 2 to 4 hours preparing for a single race. I usually dedicate the first hour to getting the car set up right for whatever the expected race and qualifying conditions are going to be. After that, I typically run a full race length practice session to figure out pit strategy, as well as I take a little bit of additional time to tweak the setup, and sometimes experimenting with different ideas or changes that might give me a leg up on the competition.
I then asked him if there was a particular car he's enjoyed racing in ACC.
This is a tough one. I started in ACC in the 2015 Mercedes AMG and really just vibed with it and got my first league race win with the car. But I've had a lot more fun and success in endurance races with the 2018 Bentley Continental. So it's hard for me to say, if I enjoy one car over the other, more or not, more so. Uh, I enjoy racing cars that might not be in the meta, and so both the AMG and the Boat have taken the majority of my sim time in ACC.
I also asked him, do you have a certain driving style?
I think I'm extremely aggressive both in how I drive the car as well as how I race others. You can typically see me seesawing on the wheel in order to muscle the car around the track, and I'll hound whoever I'm racing once I get up to their bumper, either through aggressively changing my line on the attack or trying to psych them out with fake dive bombs.
And on the subject of Season 3, I asked him if it was his goal to win the championship.
It was absolutely my goal to win the championship. I'd been racing with ZRL for a few seasons, and I'm extremely competitive just by nature. So I did everything in my power to take home wins and good finishes to try and secure the championship. I had just won my first championship with 949 Sim Racing in one of their leagues a few weeks prior, and so I used that to fuel my drive in ZRL. It also didn't help that there was a guy racing in ZRL with us at the time that no one really liked, and he just drove kind of like a an a-hole, and so that really the desire to want to beat him in particular really gave me all of the the drive that I needed.
And lastly, I asked, did he have any advice for a new sim racer?
The advice I always give to friends who ask about sim racing is that you shouldn't take it too seriously at first. Like anything, it takes a lot of practice and you have to build some skill in order to be competitive in whatever driver class you might fall into. It can be pretty discouraging to come into sim racing with high expectations for yourself and never see results. So I always tell anyone who asks that they should aim small, miss small, kind of a shooting term. Um, you have smaller goals so that as you learn and build the skill set that's required for whatever car or simulator that you're driving. At the end of the day, though, it's a hobby and it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's a video game, of all things. So it shouldn't, don't let it control your life. It's equally important to have fun with it because if it's not fun in general, you're probably not going to stay with it.
So thanks to Peter Hutchings for the interview, and once again there's that relationship between sim racing and motorsport where you find the same passion to compete, and I think also some of the same skills shared between them.